What is going on, YouTube? Crypto for Change here. We got C-Will, and both of us are super hyped coming off of Decipher 2021. If you don't know what that is, it was an event down in Miami, not too far away from where I live, where a bunch of Algorand super fans, some big investors, obviously the Algorand team, the founder, and just tons of people came together to talk about Algorand's future, to really see, what could Algorand become, as just this whole crypto world expands and as it's growing and evolving every single day. Tons and tons of information was dropped there. So me and C-Will, we're going to break it down, tell you kind of like what we liked about the event, some of the things we heard on the ground and just what we liked virtually with experiencing it. So hope you guys enjoy this video as we break down Decipher 2021. So C-Will, thanks for joining me.
Yes. What's good, David? Shout out to Crypto for Change. Shout out to everybody that taps in with the Passive Income Network.
Heck yeah. So obviously I was there, boots on the ground, got to shake hands, meet some of these people that were, really influential in Algorand, all the way to the founder himself, got to shake his hand, say a few words to him. Didn't get to say a lot, but I was able to talk to Silvio, which was probably the highlight, one of the highlights of the event for me. And you were there virtually, so you were not there in person. So I think it's cool to kind of have both of our perspectives on the event and just what we gained. So just right off the bat, tell me, what was your biggest takeaway or what you enjoyed most about Decipher? And maybe for someone who didn't join, who maybe would want to join next time.
So virtually was definitely an interesting experience. I got to sit at home, drink coffee, sit in the PJs while we participate. And I'm also on the West Coast Pacific Standard Time. So I was up at, 5 something a.m. to get ready. So I was up really early. So a big highlight to me off the top was Yieldly. I'm a big fan of Yieldly. And I know they dropped the article and released on Medium, released some of their announcements, but main thing I'm looking at is purchasing algos directly on Yieldly. It was like huge. Then the pools, the bridges happening, LP staking. And so they're doing a joint venture, I believe, with Tiny Man. Algo swapping, everything on the site. And this is what I've been basically dreaming for as an Algorand investor.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that was a big thing. I don't know if it's day one or day two, but there was a lot of talk on the DeFi ecosystem just growing on Algorand. Obviously, if you watch the Four Bulls session with Arrington Capital, Scaramucci with Skybridge, David Garcia with Borderless, and Matt Zhang with HiveMind, I mean, those guys are all in on investing. Yeah, all their money. They are investing their big money. I mean, we're talking billions of dollars in expanding the Algorand ecosystem in the DeFi. So I think that is huge as we, so many of the Algorand community, we're always asking that question, when is Algorand going to, when Moon? When are we going to flip things like Cardano and Ethereum and stuff that's, Avalanche and some Solana, some of these other protocols that we would say Algorand is obviously better. Even me hearing from Scaramucci, not on camera, but just out in conversation, hearing him say that he sees, Algorand better than Solana, Avalanche, and some Ethereum and some of these other protocols. I mean, you hear the big money talking it, but when are we going to see it? So I definitely understand that, just wanting to see this DeFi take off on Algorand is big, and Yieldly, I think, will play a big part. And you also had some big news drop with AlgoFi launching in December. So that is another DeFi protocol that's coming to Algorand. I will be getting a breakdown of that going, more in detail in the future, but that one will be going live. You got Algo Mint. Even I know you said that Tiny or being able to buy Algo on Yieldly, but you can actually, I think they have MoonPay set up now on Tiny Man. So it is an on-ramp where you can buy USDC.
Question.
Then,
Have you used it yet? Because I try to use
I have
MoonPay,
not.
And I don't know if USA can use it.
Okay, I have not used it yet, so I don't know. I do.
Somebody leave a comment and let me know about MoonPay.
I will say this: when I tried MoonPay on KuCoin, which is where I was buying Opulus when it first launched, I was not able to use MoonPay. So there could be, and even when I tried using theirs, they said you had to use a credit card; it couldn't be a debit. So there may be some things, but I do agree with you there. It's exciting to see the ability to buy into crypto via a decentralized marketplace or a decentralized exchange. That's what I'm super excited for as well.
The goal is for me is to get away from Coinbase.
Exactly.
I don't like their fees. I don't like nothing to do with that. So I'm hoping that Yieldly and Tiny Man can, bridge the gap literally to my debit card.
Exactly. Heck yeah. Because if I can get away from Coinbase, other than I do like the little, 4% back on everyday purchases and getting paid back in either Bitcoin, Graph, Ethereum, Dogecoin, whatever you want. I think that's cool. But I agree. I don't like to hold my crypto there. I like holding it in my wallet, using it on DeFi projects in Algorand. I'm actually going to say my favorite highlight for those who didn't watch the event, or maybe if you were even there and you have, some, you can put in the comments what yours was. Mine was hearing from the mayor of Miami. Now, obviously, I don't live in Miami. I live just a few hours north in St. Petersburg, Florida, which is, about 30 minutes away from Tampa, which I do think that Tampa is going to be another big, hub for crypto as just this whole crypto thing evolves. But it made me happy to know that I live in Florida. Just hearing his voice and what he's dreaming for Miami, it almost made me kind of want to move to Miami. I mean, just listening to the guy talk.
Remember, he goes, he said he'll take his second check in Bitcoin, like half his checks in Bitcoin and half in Algorand.
I want to touch on that because that was one of the first things with listening to him that I picked up on, and I'm sure a lot of people did, but what you're starting to see, even the Recoup, when he did his Decipher breakdown, he kind of talks about this as well. His version was, Algorand's going to save Bitcoin. And I think that's saving it, or just both of them working, interoperably together. You saw it with El Salvador, saying they were going to accept Bitcoin as legal tender. And then you saw them say that through the partnership with Koi banks, they were going to build their crypto infrastructure on Algorand.
Yes.
Algorand, Bitcoin. You saw it there.
And, those two, go ahead.
No. And with that, everybody's, why wouldn't they choose Ethereum? Why wouldn't they choose Solana or Cardano or some of these other big ones? It's because of the tech. It's because of its use case, and it's being built for the future and being built to be used. And now you have the mayor of Miami, which some would say, he's crypto mayor, Bitcoin mayor,
future president.
Exactly. Future president, like all this stuff. And he said that he would take, obviously he was already going to take his paycheck in Bitcoin, but now he says one's going to be in Bitcoin, the other is going to be in Algorand. I'm just going to say it. Why is he choosing Algorand if he doesn't see what I would say we see, but yet there are so many people out here. I'll even call them out. BitBoy Crypto. I literally listened. I was on the way back. I listened to a video of his. It wasn't BitBoy Cryptos, but I know it was Be Easy or one of his other guys was just talking about how, there's no layer one that can compete with Ethereum. They literally said none of them are doing more transactions, just pretty much just talking up Ethereum because they hold it, where it's like, I'm sorry, but like the mayor of Miami, he could have chose Ethereum as his second paycheck, but he didn't. He chose Algorand.
And, we break this down for the audience. If he chooses Ethereum, when they send him the money, he's going to lose half his money trying to withdraw it off the top. So it wouldn't even make sense. And when we talk about pairing Bitcoin and Algorand, Algorand is, again, like we did with El Salvador, it's a base layer. It's something that we can use every single day with essentially no fees. Bitcoin, I always see it as owning property like houses and making giant purchases. So if we pair those two together, we got an everyday tool and we got, a wealth builder via both of them. So yeah, I'm thinking Suarez is definitely in the right direction. And he said he's trying to compete against the New York mayor, who's very crypto friendly as well. And that guy said he'll take his check in Bitcoin. Right. So we got to get him on Algorand.
I'm sure
New York and Miami.
Yeah, because you're seeing them take so many different stances towards the future, this Bitcoin city or this crypto city of the future. Like they're even saying, like he was even saying, like to get rid of taxes and literally fund the city of Miami through mining and through crypto.
Miami coin and
then you a lot of people say, well, that's really energy intensive, and so that's going to be then you're looking at, well, that's why they're going to be building it and using Algorand, because they also the city of Miami is partnering with Planet Watch to deploy the air quality sensors, which that's going to be huge to just one for Algorand, that they built it on Algorand, that data is going to be out there for the city of Miami to use to be able to see how they're doing with air quality. Yep. But it's another way of showing that Algorand is carbon neutral and is going to be, even like the Recoup said, Cooper Daniels said, saving Bitcoin, where maybe Bitcoin has some things that people would say is bad. When you pair it with Algorand,
yeah, you got a carbon neutral, and then you got it's an extensive miner. You got a miner, but if you follow Michael's strategy enough with Michael Saylor, you know that Bitcoin isn't as bad as people say, because it's actually, I think it was 30 to 40% renewable energy. So if we can get Bitcoin to go fully renewable with wind energy, geothermal, and then you pair it with Algorand that is fully carbon neutral, I think our cryptocurrency energy crisis is solved.
Right. And that's where I do think, for the viewers, Wind Moon, that's when, as this ecosystem continues to grow, that's when you're going to see Algorand flip something like Ethereum. And I think you're going to see a Bitcoin Algorand, top two duo.
Let me bring up, I want to talk also, I was really interested in Bermuda. So healthcare, is very expensive. And what Bermuda doing, what was the name of the other company? It was MAPay, Bermuda.
Yeah, MAPay.
So what they're doing out there, they're reorganizing and restructuring their medical system with Algorand technology, essentially. And what that is doing is going to help them lower the cost of fees and where all the money gets lost on administration and, get burnt up. We can take that money and reallocate it. And that's, via the help of Algorand technology to clean and smooth data up. So I think that's a huge thing if we can get Bermuda to successfully do what they're doing, and then that program could be implemented in larger countries.
Right. Because even like they were saying in that interview, or in that discussion, that panel discussion, they were talking about how they can test it in a place like Bermuda, because they can get laws passed way quicker and get things actually done way quicker than you could here in the US or something. And so if it is successful, I mean, that is something that's huge. I mean, all the viewers, I'm sure if you're wanting use case of blockchain and use case of things like Algorand, obviously outside of just, the ecosystem and making Bitcoin, green and, yieldly and DeFi and all this stuff. On the healthcare side, I mean, being able to store records and actually have access to your data when it comes to your health data, because that's a big issue. And if you go into any, medical provider, getting your information's hard. Yep. Having easy access to it, and also just, most
the accuracy and all that.
Exactly. Most things are slow. It's hard to get it. It's expensive to, for some reason it is. And I think that's just the grip that America has on the, the whole pharmaceutical industry. Yep. It's a big money thing. And I think this is where Algorand could be used there as well to usher in a better database, a better blockchain to build on, to solve a lot of those issues. And so, I did think that was another cool one. I thought something else that was big, that was, I think I was dating on day one, was unlocks, partnering with Skybridge, which is Scaramucci's fund. And they're going to be partnering and with Nax. And what they're looking to do is tap into, so much of, wealthy people, they have art, or, even, or even people who have tons of miles on their traveling card, or they have tons of hotel stay points. But like, most people aren't traveling right now. Most people aren't doing anything. Or if you have art and it's sitting on your wall, that capital that you invested is locked. And so what they're hoping to accomplish is unlocking that through unlocks. I think that's a pretty cool name. Obviously, there'll be more videos going more in depth about it, but I thought that's a huge way that they can not only onboard millions of people onto Algorand and using those transactions to fractionalize their art, to list it for sale, for trading, whatever that may be. And then also if you have, points for flyer miles and all that stuff, but you're not going to use those, you could then convert them to cryptocurrency, spend it however you want in DeFi. I mean, that whole system right there. And that discussion to me, was another one of the big, I think it was on day one, another one of the big reveals that projects, I guess you could say, that's coming to the Algorand DeFi ecosystem. What's something else you were excited about?
Tiny Man. Again, I love the DeFi, but I was excited to see the founder of Tiny Man, or the lead tech, talk about it. And I like the transparency that he agrees that we need to do something about all these scammy coins that have been verified.
Right.
So, but at the same time, I like how he, you know, it's a decentralized exchange. So when it comes down to it, people like us need to continue to educate, because, you know, the first wave would be the education always, like when we're talking to people about crypto, because you can get scammed. It has happened. I have been scammed before. I felt it. It doesn't feel good. So it's cool to see him acknowledge that, but then also to hear him talk about the potential of the Tiny Man brand. They talking about NFTs, like we said, all the, you know, MoonPay and a lot of these other things that are coming out, and that brand and what they could do is like, you know, another potential moon.
Right, exactly. And I think in the next 6 months, I mean, right now, Yieldly, you know, it's one of my favorite. I love Yieldly, and it's had the sun kind of shining on it, but it's gonna have, and I wouldn't even say competition in a bad way, but it's going like the whole, as Algorand's ecosystem grows in the DeFi space, you're gonna see things like AlgoFi, Folks Finance, Tiny Man. You know, it's gonna have, I feel like, a synergy within all of these, to where you're going to have almost like Ethereum has with Aave and Compound and all these other things, where they can, you know, you can have lending and borrowing and yield farming and staking and all of those things in one. Because right now, you know, Algorand's ecosystem is kind of limited. And I think, you know, for the people who are saying win moon, that I think is the hindrance right now. You don't have the ecosystem as big as some of the other blockchains, even though the blockchain themselves might not be better. There's more tools readily available for people to use. Yes. And that gets me into my next point, which was the big, I think one of the biggest bombshells outside of just some of the things Mayor Suarez was saying with what he's doing with Miami. And that is David Garcia, Borderless Capital, a new $500 million fund to improve Algorand's DeFi ecosystem. That right there, that was a mic drop for me. Like, he's doubling down. He started his first fund, you know, he started investing in Algorand before he was testing that launch, I think, in 2018. So like, this is a company, or this is a
so he's made his money for sure.
Yeah,
and he's coming back for more.
Exactly. They saw early what Algorand could be, and they invested heavy. Now they see even more what it can be, and they're investing, you know, even more. So that is huge. And I think the next 6 months to a year, as Algorand's DeFi ecosystem continues to grow, it's going to really start to reward those people who are early on things like Yieldly, Tiny Man, Folks Finance, AlgoFi, as it's about to launch. That, I think, was the biggest bombshell for me. I think it was day 2, was just the fact that, you know, these guys, and even all of them, you know, the
isn't there bulls, was it a Hive Mind?
Yeah, Hive Mind, $1.5 billion fund.
So let's break this down. And essentially what we're seeing, all this money is going to help actually like pay developers, give out grants, do these things, and essentially employ them to build on Algorand. So all of us will have more tools. And again, what that does, I think I forgot what was the statistic, but Algorand is one of the fastest growing developer markets right now.
Right. Yeah, because it's going to bring people from other blockchains that are building. They're going to see the money that's going into Algorand, that they can get paid to go build their product.
Use it, and they're, this shit is it's just a better blockchain.
Exactly.
Which will be better for the users. And once we get more users in, again, and you know, back to Scaramucci, like you said, the Bulls. I was watching him on CNBC, so he's 100% on a campaign, and he's pushing right now.
Yeah, he's like the only guy. I think he's the only guy
he's pushing
the big name guy that like talks, that gets to go out on the mainstream TV and talk about Algorand. And
check this out. I researched him more. He's like very much so in bed with like, you know, politicians and Senate and all that. Yeah. So that again is like, if you got him with this type of understanding, he's on TV, he's at these conferences. So he's going around and planting this Algorand seed throughout government, throughout all the money markets. And then, you know, eventually they're going to say Scaramucci was right.
Right. Yeah, I will say this. I did actually get to talk to him a little bit. And this isn't even just going on what he was saying, on the camera and on the Four Bulls, podcast.
Oh, this is a private conversation.
Panel. Yeah, well, I guess you could say private. There was a few of us there, and even with what he said on the panel, you know, it's just saying, you know, why big institutions aren't fully in yet. It's just too early. You know, a lot of them are too nervous. I mean, most people, and even I think Michael Arrington from Arrington Capital kind of said it. most investors, they are not going to take a deal that they think they can lose money on. Like, they are very selective right now. And so they're wanting to see what's happening. And especially when they look and see what happens with Ethereum and with Solana and Cardano, there's caution for concern. So I think that's why some of the, in his words, we're saying might not be, but, he was telling me that, like, he went out himself, did his own research. So, like, this isn't something that someone just came to him and said, like, hey, I need you to go pump Algorand. I need you.
No. Listen, this is what happened with me. I found it myself, and I was like, I have to go talk about this.
Yeah, and so that
it was the same way. Yeah,
right. To me, that was huge. Just hearing him say, like, how he's done his own research and he sees that Algorand is leading and is going to be the biggest disruptor in the future. And the fact that he's putting his money where his mouth is with Skybridge, investing that money into Algorand and growing its ecosystem. I thought that was really awesome as well.
Yeah. And it's like when the big money, what they call it, smart money, right?
Right.
I'll consider us smart money if you're in Algorand right now. But when smart money is on it, and again, I always be like, go back and watch the videos from February last year and see the stuff that, YouTubers or influencers are talking about. And then here we are, that all that stuff is actually out. So now this next 6 months, we got another wave of new technology, new tools, which will only make Algorand grow.
Right. And I think you're going to see a similar DeFi, like the DeFi explosion that happened to Ethereum. I think you're going to see something similar happen to Algorand. And that's where, like I say, the people who are doing their own research and finding these solid blockchains that are going to be built for the future and things are already even now choosing to build on them, they're going to be rewarded, because you're just, even Scaramucci was saying, not on the panel, but just through conversation, what investors, are on some of these other ones? What big investors are pouring their money? What VCs are pouring their big money into Solana and into, some of the Avalanche and some of the other, big ones that are out there. It's Algorand. That's where you're seeing a heavy institution buyers, go to, because they want something that's
we should talk about this in another video, but the ISO cryptos, the ISOO is something the crypto, if you heard about them, the ones that have been verified, that would be good financially for like the United States and all that. Algorand is one of those.
Right.
XLM, XRP, and I know there's like one more in there. So that's always something to think about, like what is already essentially good for our economy and country that could be easily integrated. And out of MIT, that makes the country more comfortable, from my understanding, fundamentally. So there's a lot there. Could we jump? I do want to hear you. Can you talk more about the experience there in the physical, though?
Yeah. So
that's why I'm interested.
Yeah, and that was, just being there and being able to talk to Silvio and Sean Ford. Those two right there was the highlight for the whole week. And outside of just, which panels I liked, just seeing how down to earth Silvio was, like, and I mean this, like every single panel that got up there, almost every single one. There may have been a few where he was out and he was socializing, but like if he wasn't sitting in the stands in this room intently watching the people talk about what they're building on Algorand, if he was not there, he was out in the common area talking with developers, talking with super fans, just everybody that was there. Yeah. Like he was so approachable. And like, to me, that was huge, because, a lot of times when you see a big name person come into a venue, like if they're going to be speaking about something, you normally see them come in, they give their spiel, they say what they want to say, and then you don't see them again. But like he was out there constantly. Sean Ford was out there constantly, just talking to the people, answering questions. Like I say, talking with the programmers, the people who were building on Algorand. And so I thought that was really cool, just to like, see him and how he interacted, with everybody. The whole venue itself was really cool, how it was set up. They had obviously the main room where, the big panel discussions, or the main lab, or the light box. Yeah. And then they had like an outside area where, I was glad it was outside, because I lost my voice day one, because we were in a tiny room with reach, and the music was blasting and you had to scream to talk to people. So I was glad they had an outside venue where even if there was music, you didn't feel like you had to yell. But that whole, and then they obviously had the other room where if you were a programmer, if you were someone who building on Algorand, they had separate,
presentations
going over the coding and going over, all the.
I watched some of those too, just to put my head around it.
Yeah, I watched them. Obviously, it goes over my head. I'm not a programmer. Like, I won't even. I don't understand it. I'm just glad there are people that do understand it.
Speaking of Silvio, I like when he gave his presentation.
Yeah,
you can just hear the passion behind math.
Right. He definitely. You could tell he had all the passion in his words and not in his PowerPoint presentation. But
yes. That's what I thought was funny. I was like, oh, this is a real old school guy.
He had to make that
one word decentralized Algorand. Like,
yeah, he had to make that himself. There's no way. No way he had to
upgrade this. He said,
yeah. No. Like, I think I could have made a better PowerPoint if someone made that PowerPoint for him. Then. Man,
he didn't go fancy, no marketing. He just told us what it was. He broke it down with a lot of passion, and then of course, let everybody else be fancy.
Right.
Yeah. So shout out to Silvio.
Right.
It was cool to hear him talk.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, being boots on the ground, Silvio was by far really great to meet. But, I was super excited to hear and just actually talk to Sean Ford. His whole speech on enduring value, obviously it kind of went in through just, why, why they're building Algorand, what they see for its future, but just the whole idea that they're building something that's going to revolutionize the industry, the tech industry. It's going to revolutionize hopefully the healthcare industry, the financial industry. It can literally revolutionize everything. And that's where, I was just, if you want to talk about the most motivational speech, I think it was his enduring value speech on just where he sees Algorand going. I mean, he was even making, connections to where Google was when Google was first starting. There were some big names that were out there before Google was even a thing. Yeah. And then you had, obviously the better tech win. Google won and no one used, Alta Vista and all those other ones that he was mentioning. And of course I wasn't even really someone who would have been investing at that time. I was just using stuff, but
it was young
it's interesting to see that parallel now where you see everybody talking about the Ethereums, the Cardano, the Solano. And I'm not saying that those are just going to go away. I think it will be a multi-chain future, but I think if you're looking at the top 25 cryptos right now, the most undervalued one, it's Algorand. It is. And
facts. And it's like, again, usability. Name one other crypto that you can play with $1.
Yeah.
I can go buy a half of Algo and then go play with it all day.
Right.
On Yieldly, I can go swap on Tiny Man. I could. So it's like, then you go and hop over to the Cosmos, you hop over to Elrond. I don't even know if Elrond even got anything out. Like, you hop on all these blockchains, they either don't have anything or some,
or the fees just eat it up. It's kind of like, Zone, Adi with Zone, he was kind of talking about that. Like the whole Middle East, they're not going to pay $1 in gas fees to do anything.
Because I was using Binance, I'll be experimenting. I was using Binance, the Binance Smart Chain. And I was like, wait, one fee was like, up to $9 to do a transaction. And then another thing I was trying to do was $1. Then it went back to $9. I was like, I don't know. But then either way, I was like, I can't afford to do this. It wouldn't be worth it. So I'm back to Algorand as per usual.
Yeah.
So that's what gets me hyped is like, for y'all out here, go try something else out. And then see how it makes you feel.
Right. Go do any swap on Uniswap.
Yeah. See what that feels like. Because I've done that. And I'm like, again, so it just keeps getting me bullish on Algo. Algo to the moon. That's all I got to say.
So, but yeah, no, the event was super fun. Just the entire, it was just 2 days, but there was also like Decipher was going on, but in that arts district, which they're in Wynwood in Miami, there was tons of other crypto stuff going on. I mean, there was a lot of NFT parties. There was a lot of NFT events going on. I think they even had at Miami Beach a really big like display of like some like 3D type. I don't really know what it was, but there was actually a lot of stuff crypto wise going on. So like it just makes me even more bullish for just the entire crypto space. Doesn't mean that we couldn't see a bear market or a crypto winter come, but like realistically, I don't think this bull run is done. I think we may be right in the middle or a little bit past that, but I think we could easily see a bull run stretch into the summer of 2022 before we realistically see any kind of top, especially with the money that's flowing in. Like institutions, I just don't think they'd be pouring this kind of money in now if they didn't see those bullish signs that it's still early and there's still a lot of potential for this market to continue to move up and move higher.
As you said with your stocks, like we're getting more gains from crypto.
Yeah,
it's obvious because yes, it's a newer tech, it's a newer investment, but just you compare staking to dividends is no comparison.
No,
dividends is like almost prehistoric now.
And you got to wait how long to get your dividends?
Yeah, quarterly. Like, so it's like, so something like that. So it's like, again, I'm the big money is seeing the same thing we're seeing, and they're like, oh shit. And that doesn't again mean sell all your stocks, sell your 401k, but it's like you should put money here if you're trying to, create a good wealth in the future.
Yeah.
So,
and I think even Scaramucci was talking about that in one of the panels. He was saying that, there is the older generation is 60% stocks, 40% bonds. That's the money that's the people that have to realize that, okay, maybe I can start to incorporate some crypto into my portfolio. And I think once you see that, starting to happen, that's when you're going to see a lot of movement.
Our generation. So that's what happened with crypto. They're seeing, I think it was Seb Quinn was talking about from Yuli was saying, or I think it was him, but the users are younger and younger.
35. He said the main
30. There we go, 35
and under.
So in the next 30 years, we will be 65, right? If he said 35, that's a lot of growth in the market. Then when we have kids, our kids will off the top be like, oh, blockchain, they won't even think about it.
No,
so it's like
the metaverse. Who even knows what'll be after that?
Or metaverse, yeah. So like they were saying, it's going to be some then the user interfaces get better and better, where we're not going to have to do all this opting in and all these different things.
It's going to be a lot smoother. The onboarding and the use case and the ease of use is going to be just like the way you use the internet now, the way you use it on your phone right now.
We don't know we're in HTML, and then people don't know that. So that's what I'm seeing. So as our generation continues to mature, we are going to get rid of all of this old stuff, and we're going to say we got to move forward. So that's what Scaramucci and all of them is seeing as well.
Oh yeah, and they're just early adopters to it. So let's kind of wrap that out and wrap this up and go into that kind of discussion. Future of Algorand, the future of the crypto space. Where do you see it from? Decipher 2021 in the books. I would assume Decipher 2022 will be an event and will be planned. I think I think they did a fantastic job. I definitely see us, having another one. But where do you see in a year's time? What do you see happening? Where do you think we'll be this time next year?
I think this time next year we might be in Dubai. No, I'm joking, but I think this time next year we will be impressed, because when I look back from 2020 to this year, I couldn't even imagine where I would be doing right now in terms as an investor, YouTuber, and all these different things, taking all these skill sets. And, so same thing with Algorand. Like we got, like you said, AlgoFi. I'm really interested in AlgoFi, because when you bring in the loaning and borrowing with your crypto, development of Tiny Man. Again, I'm not a developer, but Reach, I believe, has a great product. Headline as well. They have great products that could help developers. So then just a year compounding of this hype, like you said, the bull market is still here. If I can get another Solana to crash, if I can get another crash, you know what I'm saying, of another big chain, the money comes back to Algorand essentially. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm just seeing massive growth in Algorand's ecosystem.
Yeah. And I would say similar for me. I think this time next year, I think you're going to see a full, not a finalized DeFi ecosystem, but I think you're going to see a much more polished DeFi ecosystem for Algorand. I think you're going to see a more robust one. I think you're going to see one that has all of the things that, an Ethereum has. I think you're going to see all of those on Algorand, which I think will be massive. And I think that will push, my bullish case, that will push Algorand into the top 5. I still don't know if it'll be, past Ethereum. I honestly don't think, just because
it may not.
Right now, a lot of big money, not even big money. Right now, a lot of big hype is around that. So I just don't think that'll die down. I think you're still going to see the likes of Ethereum and Solana and stuff run. But I do think by the next time, Decipher comes around, I think we're going to see Algorand in the top 5. It's going to have so much more use case with its DeFi ecosystem. So if you were watching this video wanting to know, what projects, what, cryptos should I be watching for the next year to double, triple, quadruple my money? To me, it's got to be an Algorand. You got to start looking at some of these projects as their tokens are launching, as there's more ways to bring your Bitcoin and your Ethereum to Algorand's network via Algo Mint, as you're able to onboard fiat onto TinyMan directly and onto Yieldly directly and by Algorand. I think you're just going to see the sleeping giant, which is Algorand, wake up. And I think you're going to see that price, it could be easily over. I mean, it should already be over 10, but I think you could easily see it $15, $25 per algo, and you could just see the entire Algorand ecosystem explode. The last thing I would say, just as we're moving forward, that I thought was really cool, just to tie in one last thing, was meeting all the creators. That is something also, if you're considering going to Decipher 2022, outside of just meeting the big name guys, and some of the 4 bulls that you would call it. Maybe we'll have more bulls next year. I'm sure we will. But outside of just meeting the TV personalities and the big guys, meeting just the programmers, the people who are building AlgoFi and Folks Finance and Yieldly, talking to just them and their excitement for not only for their own projects, but for the entire Algorand ecosystem. Like, they're not like, you don't have this competition where they're like trying to beat one another. You have them all working together to try and build up each other, which I think, just like, Silvio said many times, collaboration is better than competition. Exactly. And they are collaborating, even on the NFT side. That was a huge part of Decipher 2021. And I think even more so for Decipher 2022, getting to meet a lot of the NFT artists, the creators. Shout out to Algo House. I spent a lot of time with him, Andrew and his partner, Drew. It was just really cool to see their heart and their passion for what they're building and for what each of these artists are building. And I think as we approach, as we get to next year's Decipher event and where it could be, I think you're going to see just everything, 10x on Algorand, if not more.
I'll say, except Smilecoin. No, I'm just waiting. No disrespect.
Let's not judge him too bad. Let's see how this beta works out.
I still hold my coins though. I still got them.
Yeah.
But great recap. I like to make jokes a little bit, but great recap. Again, y'all. So make sure y'all tap in. Follow Crypto for Change. Follow Passive Income Network.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for talking, Decipher 2021, what you took away from it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let us know in the comments if you watched virtually or if you were there in person. What was your pullaways? What was your big takeaways from the Decipher event, and just where you see Algorand going in the future? So thanks for tapping in. Thanks for watching. And until next time, let's get out there and make some money.
Peace.